Hey guys, welcome back to S Motorsports. Today is going to be a little different. I got a tune review for you. Basically, I'm just going to be going over my tune for my 2018 Camaro 1SS 1LE. More for your guys' reference to kind of see what I'm doing on my tune. If you guys want to use this for reference. But we will put in a disclaimer that obviously I am not a professional tuner. So doing any tuning like this is done at your own risk, as you can have severe engine damage. But all that being said, let's get into basically what my tune looks like and what I have done. Also stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so, because I am going to make another video coming up that's specifically detailed on what I have done for my idle to get my ignition timing correct on these Gen 5 motors. The timing gets retarded a lot of the time once you put on some mods that introduces a little more airflow at idle. I was idling at -10 or worse, and now adjusting my virtual torque tables, I am idling at 6 to 10 degrees positive ignition timing, and the car idles so much better. So I want to make a separate video of how I did that exactly, showing the step-by-step process, because I know there's really not a great information out there how to do that. But let's jump into just my tune today. I'm going to try and just kind of hit the main highlight things, as I don't want to make this a 40-minute video. Starting on the Speedo tab, basically the only thing that I changed there is you got to change the speed limiter. I think this is like 135 stock, just bumping it up to make sure you never hit that. So that's pretty simple. One of the big items is on the system tab. So if you install a cooler thermostat, this needs to be adjusted. Otherwise, you don't get the full advantage out of the cooler thermostat. So basically, I didn't change this mechanical thermostat. I'm not sure if you really have to. From what I'm seeing, you don't. Basically, what I did was adjusted this desired percentage versus coolant temperature. And what I did was I have 180-degree thermostat, so I started bringing this in only a few percent as it's opening. As it's cooler, it just runs, right in here when it's really cold out. But now that it's getting warmer out, I'm seeing it, run up somewhere in this range normally, which is about perfect, and I may adjust this to ramp up even quicker as it gets warmer out, depending on what I see. But basically, this ramps up way quicker versus stock. It starts coming in at like 195, it levels out, goes up, and it doesn't hit full fan until like 230, 235, which is really warm. So if you guys want to take a screen grab or something of that fan curve, that seems to be working pretty good. Moving on, I did not touch anything in here. Under the trans tab, if you have a manual transmission, you can go ahead and disable the kegs basically for the skip shift. I had the skip shift eliminator that you basically unplug the sensors, so mine is unplugged anyways, but I still disabled this, making the minimum coolant temperature for it to work at 399. You're never going to hit that, and it disables it after 1 mile an hour. And basically what that does is you don't have that message coming on your dash saying, to do the 1 to 4 shift. Okay, moving on into the engine tab. Let's see. Idle, I didn't change a whole lot here. I did maybe bump up my idle a little to be basically not come down quite so fast. So it idles just a little bit higher as the coolant temperature is a little colder. I kind of did that to help alleviate my idle issue. That didn't necessarily help, but I kind of like it in this setting right now, so I'm leaving it. Torque, I will get into that in my separate idle video, so stay tuned. Under airflow, dynamic, didn't change anything. Okay, speed density, I left stock value in for the manifold volume, even with the LT2 manifold, that seemed to be work just fine. Under electronic throttle, same thing, I left this value the same as stock for even my LT5 95 millimeter throttle body. I tried it at the 5054 value, which I had read was kind of the value for the 95 millimeter throttle body, but I basically left these items as close to stock as possible to not mess with the torque calculations that were originally for this car. So I'm trying to leave everything as close to stock as possible. That seems the way it runs the best. This pressure ratio limit, so on a side note, you do have to change this to 1 when you're doing your speed density tuning, because this will only allow you to go to a pressure ratio of 0.9, so it will limit the throttle when you're doing speed density tuning, because you have to fail the MAF sensor. But then since I'm done doing speed density tuning, I changed this back to 0.9 as kind of a safety. My stoichiometric value I left as stock because I'm not running E85, so I didn't have to change that. Okay, big one is spark timing. So basically in my high octane table, this is basically all stock, except I did find a tune file that I liked that I wanted to bump up the timing basically in this section, which is at lower RPM, and then when you stab the gas, you immediately fall down into this range. And stock, these are almost negative values, they're very low timing. I wanted it to maintain some sort of timing, 10, 12, that's not that much. As far as minimum spark, I am messing with that a little bit more. So this is more or less a 2019 table, kind of in this area, and even exaggerated, pulled this row down just a little bit and increased these values slightly to try and get a little more gurgle out of the exhaust. So I'm still kind of messing with that, but we'll see where that ends up. But basically in this area, it is a 2019 tune. Torque management, so not that one. Peak torque, I did come in above 1200 and basically increase these values by 20% or so to make sure that I wasn't hitting a limit with all the added parts that I've added. Under driver demand, this is a big one that under all your maps A, B, and C, you come in and so what I did on driver demand, if you don't increase these values, your throttle will be limited. When I added all my parts, my throttle was only opening 58%. So what I had to do is come in here, multiply this row by 4%, and then I took these two rows, multiplied by another 4%, so on. And I did this all the way down to 60% open throttle. And basically, when you take that row and then the bottom 3 and then the bottom 4 and multiply by 4%, and that you get a nice curve instead of a straight line. So that's what I did. That seems to be working pretty good. Now my throttle opens 100%. One thing I did try recently as well is in this increasing rate limit, it says that it's disabled, but from some graphs and stuff that I did, I changed this predicted normal anyways. I basically maxed this table out, and I noticed my throttle was following way closer, almost identical to what my throttle input was, and it does seem more responsive. Even though it says it's disabled, which I thought was really weird. I thought I was going to change this and it wasn't going to do anything, but from what I can see is it still was doing something. So this was definitely a way to increase throttle response. From what I'm seeing on the logs, my throttle angle, or at least the commanded from the car, is following my throttle input a lot closer. And really, guys, that's about it. I'm not going to dive into the virtual torque tables or the volumetric efficiency a whole lot. We will look at this quick. So make sure you are copying whatever you do in the open or closed, copy them to both. I think it actually uses the open tab, but basically, you know, I was tuning this with a wideband sensor, which you need for wide open throttle. It's given me a little bit of fits. I probably will end up redoing this at some point to try and dial it in even closer, but it's pretty close right now. I still have areas where I might need a bigger dip because it's a little rich, maybe in this area, as well as here where the factory ones had bigger dips, probably because of the variable valve timing, but I'm not sure. So I might want to redo that now that I've kind of tweaked the variable valve timing a little bit. Also, I forgot to show you the airflow tab, my MAF sensor calibration. Basically, the values in here, you know, this value I left stock at the top, and then these values basically from like 5500 up are pretty close to stock. They're maybe increased just a tiny bit, like maybe 1%, which I was kind of surprised by, but also I may have also leaned it out ever so slightly, where like the stock calibration car is commanding 11.9 and I'm seeing 12.06 on my wideband. So leaning it out just ever so slightly, just because even 12.0 is pretty, you know, pretty rich. These cars apparently like that rich air fuel mixture, but you know, that's kind of what I was doing. Cars seem to like that. So I got a pretty linear curve, and I tried to leave some of these values down here in the idle closer to stock because my wideband seems like it was giving me some weird readings sometimes at idle with low airflow over the sensor. So that's basically it, guys. I just kind of wanted to show you my tune, give you an overview. I know I ran through that pretty quick, but obviously if you guys got questions, you know, like I said, I'm not an expert tuner by any means. You know, I'm learning with a lot of people on the forums. But if you got a question, you know, if it's something easy, maybe I can help and point you in the right direction anyways. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of really enjoyed this tuning process, and I think it's a good skill to have, and it's kind of fun for me. But I hope this kind of gives you an idea of what I did, and you can kind of see a little bit more in depth of HP tuners if you haven't gotten the program or used it yet. It's really pretty user friendly. But that's it for today, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for that idle tuning video, which I'll do in the future. But yeah, that's it. Take care, guys. Thanks for joining in.